Toby Perkins.
Well, thank you very much, Mr Hollowbone. It's a great pleasure to serve under your chairmanship. I'd like to add my thanks to my honourable friend for Nottingham South for securing the debate and for the contribution that she made. I think the sheer number of speakers for this debate says a lot. But the Minister and the Government shouldn't just be concerned at the number of Labour and Scottish National Party contributors that are willing to come here, but she should also hear loud and clear that not a single Conservative MP was willing to come to this meeting this morning and speak up for this decision. The fact that the Honourable Gentleman for Harlow isn't here in his place speaking up for this decision should say more to the Minister than every single eloquent speech we've heard from my honourable friends and colleagues. Because this is a decision, and this debate will be a reassurance, I think, to the 200,000 learners each year that will see barriers placed in front of their careers by this incredibly short-sighted move, that there are people in this place that are more interested in supporting them than in picking fights and settling scores and preventing that ladder of opportunity. Now, I'm not going to have the opportunity to refer to every speech, but there were so many important points made by colleagues that I do want to at least mention some of them. My honourable friend from Jarrow mentioned that all through the time of the Union Learning Fund, going right back to 1998, this is something that's enjoyed cross-party support. As other members have said, this is a programme that has demonstrated the potential to enhance and to transform the lives of workers. My honourable friend from Nottingham South said that this is a programme that reaches those people whose statutory education has failed, those people who arrived in the workplace without functional literacy and numeracy are the people that this programme has supported. And a government truly committed to a skills-led recovery, as my friend from Birkenhead said, would recognise that Union Learn is an example of building back better, of the very best of trade union and government cooperation, helping workers to help themselves. Now, of course, we look forward to hearing what the Minister has to say. But whatever she says, we know where this decision comes from. She might read those words out, but this is a decision made by the Secretary of State. And in fairness to him, and there's not much that I would say to recommend him, but in fairness to him, he's been quite upfront and honest about the fact there's been no attempt to hide behind the Treasury or hide behind economic arguments. This is a political decision by a politician who would rather settle scores with the trade unions than work constructively with them. In his own mind, he's the reincarnation of Margaret Thatcher, preventing workers from accessing skills, literacy and numeracy skills. This is his augury. This is the moment that he came into politics for. But the evidence that we've heard is about the real people who will be impacted by this decision. He's not the reincarnation of Margaret Thatcher. He's a mean-spirited Frank Spencer. That is what we actually have in making this decision. And the decision is so misplaced. It hits the workers, not the unions. Union Learn isn't a profit centre for trade unions. It won't hit the sustainability of the union. It will, in communities up and down the country, prevent people being able to get access to the skills that will enable them to better themselves. What idiocy. This government, all governments will on occasions have arguments, have fights with trade unions. It's the nature of being in government. But what a fight to pick. Why, if you want to have a fight with the trade unions, do you fight to prevent them helping people to better themselves? It's incredible to think that Theresa May's premiership might be looked back on as a more enlightened time than what we have now. But with regard to Union Learn, it was. Let's remind ourselves of what the Minister's predecessor, the Honourable Member for Guildford, said just a couple of years ago. The aim of the National Retraining Scheme is simple: to produce the best programme of learning and training for people in work and returning to work in a changing world. To do this, the government, the CBI and the TUC all have our parts to play. And that's where Union Learn comes in and why we regard it as an external partner in the National Retraining Scheme. You know, that is a sensible, conservative approach to recognising that Union Learn is about unions and government working constructively together. And that's what a sensible Secretary of State would say now. Even in the teeth of austerity, at a time where there seemed to be almost nothing that government wasn't willing to cut back on, George Osborne decided to continue funding Union Learn. That was the approach they took then. But he was a skillful politician. He was a very poor Chancellor, but he was a skillful politician. But the Secretary of State that we have now is no such thing. There are no fig leaves that can cover the motivation for this decision. The most recent independent evaluation of Union Learn, referred to by colleagues, published by the University of Exeter just this month, said that 12 million spent on Union Learn has an overall impact of benefit to employers and individuals of £1.4 billion. As my honourable friend from Weaver Vale said, every pound invested in the Union Learning Fund in round 20 generated a total economic return of £12.87, benefiting almost equally workers and their employers. That latest evaluation found 80% of employees saying they'd developed skills that they could transfer to a new job. 19%, as my honourable friend from Coventry North West said, 19% of those who accessed this fund gained a promotion or increased responsibility after they'd had their learning. And 11% gained a pay rise. My honourable friend from Putney spoke about the issue of work-based poverty. The number of people working 2 or 3 jobs still unable to pay their bills. Union Learn Fund was a solution to that, and people getting pay rises as a result of the extra skills that they had. And like most acts of vandalism, it will come at a cost. My honourable friend from Luton South referred to the fact that the evaluation showed that every pound government spends, it receives £3.60 back. This is a decision that will literally cost the government money. It's not about them having to find an alternative way to pay for it. They're actually costing money by the decision that they're making. And they haven't even pretended to investigate the impact. Last month, Baroness Berridge admitted that neither the Secretary of State nor any ministerial colleagues had met with employers, with trade bodies, with sector skills bodies, with individual trade unions, with further education organisations, or with trading providers in advance of this decision. But if they'd taken the time to consult, they would know there's a huge coalition opposed to this. Can the Minister recall a time where such a broad coalition of employers have come together to back a union-led initiative? Just the list of companies who are already out in front opposing this decision: the British Ceramic Federation, Cogent Skills, Ingenuity, British Steel, the Food and Drink Federation, Catapult, Make UK, Manufacturing Technologies Association, Tesco, Liberty Steel, WEA, Heathrow Airport, Tata Steel, Arla Foods, Milk and More, Muller Milk and Ingredients Division. How many more organisations need to come out and say that this is a retrograde step? With the challenges of the pandemic demonstrated the urgent need for retraining and upskilling, in Union Learn there is the very model of lifelong learning. The government are axing this programme, which supports the learning of over 200,000 workers at a cost of just £12 million a year. Meanwhile, their community learning budget, 20 times bigger than Union Learn, reaches less than twice as many people. It couldn't be a better example of government spending money wisely. It's not about the money. This department's just sent £80 million allocated to get help to retrain back to the Treasury because they couldn't spend it. This is a government that rips up the rules on procurement to load cash into the pockets of their friends and Tory party donors. But when it comes to a tiny investment to help workers who earn in a year the sort of money that these ministers will pay in a day rate to some of these consultants, the message from this government is that your career isn't worth it. My honourable friend from Newcastle North said that it's the opposite of a levelling up approach. And it says more about this government, as my honourable friend from Coventry South said, more about this Secretary of State than any shiny new initiative, and we can all see the truth. This is a decision that pits the government against 200,000 low-paid workers. It will cost rather than save money. It's the opposite of levelling up, and it stinks. And the truth is, the Minister could get to her feet now and confirm that she'll cancel this divisive and regressive stupidity, and I hope she will.